guys, it's Sam, and today I'm doing a bookish Never Have I Ever. So if you're not familiar, Never Have I Ever is technically a drinking game in which people in a group will say, never have I ever blank, and if you have done that thing, you have to take a drink. I personally am going to be drinking water, not because I don't drink alcohol, because I do, but I drink maybe like 4 times a year, and it's a very social activity for me. I never drink like just in my house by myself. That's just not something that I find enjoyable. I know a lot of people do and find it comforting. I don't. So drinking alone right now would not make me feel better. It would make me feel worse. And I don't need to feel more sad than I already do. I kind of compare it to getting takeout food. Like, am I still getting takeout? Yes, but the experience of getting takeout and eating it at home, mostly by myself or just with my parents, is not the same as going out to eat with friends. I like going out and doing things with people, which we can't do right now. So I'll be drinking water for everything that I have done. I've been wanting to do a Never Have I Ever for a while because a lot of the plant tubers that I watch, which are houseplant YouTubers, they have been doing a Never Have I Ever, and theirs is a tag. I know like a few years ago we had a tag of this on BookTube, but I think those questions are a little bit older. And then I saw Elliot Brooks do a version of this like a week ago where she asked her Instagram followers to send her questions, so that's what I'm doing. That was a long, rambly introduction to this, but, you know, this is my only social interaction I get, so. Never have I ever thrown a book across a room. No, I actually haven't done this. I do not throw my books or really get very, like, passionate with my books and shake them or anything like that. I'm very calm about it. I do throw, or I have in the past, thrown a video game controller into the sofa. I'm not, like, 12-year-old boy, I don't throw it at the TV, but inside my brain there is a little gremlin that is a 12-year-old boy playing Call of Duty, even though I don't play Call of Duty, and I have done that. So I want to fess up to that, but the question was books. I've never thrown a book. Never have I ever pretended to like a book that I didn't. I've never done this. I don't see a reason to do this. You guys know I'm pretty honest about what books I like and don't like. So yeah, I've even thinking back to like high school or something where like I would maybe like something to impress someone. I've never done that. Never have I ever posted something I regret later. As far as a video, I've never done this. So far, this is not enjoyable for you guys as far as like seeing me drink water or whatever. But yeah, I've never regretted anything that I've posted. I am lucky enough, I've mentioned this before, to have come onto YouTube at an age where like, was I a full-fledged adult at the very beginning? No, I don't think that I was really an adult until like later in my 20s, but I was sensible enough to not post anything like really bad that I might have done when I was a teenager and didn't know and was ignorant or something. I was at a pretty mature level by the time I got on BookTube, and I knew who I was, so you didn't have to see me like figuring out who I was. I'm not like a James Charles, where you had to like see me grow up on the internet. I was fortunate enough that that didn't have to happen to me. Never have I ever started a book just to realize that I've read it before. I don't think I've done this. So far I haven't drank anything. I don't think that I've done this. I have a pretty good memory when it comes to like reading comprehension and stuff. I might have done this as like a kid, maybe getting something from the library, but not that I can remember have I ever done this. Especially because I tend to read like a lot of series and stuff, so it's like I know that I've read book 1, you know? I think if I read a lot of like standalones that this might have the chance of happening, but no. Never have I ever said I would never read a book and then end up reading it. I get to drink now. I think I have done this. I think that this would count for the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. When I first got on BookTube, I didn't think I was going to read any Shadowhunter books because I do not tend to like stuff with angels and demons especially. I just like really stay away from it. But over the time I've been on BookTube, my anxiety has gotten a little bit under control with some of that stuff. So during certain instances of my life, I am able to read those kinds of things. So I was able to read the Infernal Devices, and I never thought I was going to. Never have I ever given a book to a friend and regretted it. I have done this because I gave my copy of Cinder to a friend that I knew kind of wasn't very gentle with books, and I said, please don't, like, please be careful, please don't mess this up, like, if you mess it up, and I think I said to her, if you mess this book up, you're gonna have to pay for a new one, you're gonna have to replace it. She did mess it up. Like the cover, it was a paperback, so the cover was all like folded and scuffed up and stuff, and to her she's like, this isn't that bad, and I'm like, this is not the condition in which it was lent to you, so therefore it is bad. Never have I ever gotten food on my book as I tried to eat and read at the same time. I don't believe that I've done this with food I don't tend to eat and read at the same time at all. I have like a designated eating spot. I don't read in it, and I go on my phone when I eat, and I watch like YouTube videos and stuff. So I've never done that. I think I have spilled like water, like little droplets. I'm gonna drink for it just because I'm not drinking a ton of water. I've gotten like water droplets on a book, like never like ruined it or anything, probably, but not food. Never have I ever screamed at a book while reading. No. The closest that I've come to doing this is like squealing at a book out of excitement, but I've never like screamed out of anger or shock or anything at a book. I don't think. I'm gonna drink though, just because I've like squealed at a book, you know, been like, oh, fuck you. I have never like gotten angry and like yelled. I'm not somebody that when I ingest media, as far as like TV, books, movies, that I exclaim at them. Like I'm not, like I don't tend to do that. Maybe at like midnight shows of superhero movies sometimes. But like generally speaking, like I'm just not somebody that really does that. Like I'm pretty blank face about it. I do get upset at video games because 12-year-old boy brain. Never have I ever fallen asleep while reading. I've actually never done this. I've never done this while studying, I've never done this while reading. I know that I'm getting sleepy and I put the book away. Never have I ever bought a second version of a book to have matching covers for the rest of the series. I have done that. I did this for the Nevernight series recently because I had mismatched book covers. I don't know if I've done it for any other series though. I have done it for the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. I've done it a couple times. Never have I ever ate a specific food because you've read it in a book and started craving it. I think I have done this, like, so sort of. So I haven't eaten a specific food, but I do feel like if I'm reading something that really heavily talks about sweets, I want something sweet. I do this a lot also while watching like baking shows. Like if I watch a baking show, I want a cake. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, I've never like made the specific food because they were eating it, but I have like tried to get the same flavor profile. Never have I ever got bored in a scene, skipped a few pages ahead, and skim read the next 100 pages, spoiling myself. That's a very specific question. I do sometimes, like, and it's not so much getting bored. I mean, I have done that. So if I'm rereading a book and I know that this part is just not super important and I can kind of skip ahead, I will sort of skim that. Like, I never really skim read. I do remember reading some of the Anita Blake books because I read those like 5 times and like skipping a little bit because it's like, well, I just want to get to the part where these characters are interacting. I will also sometimes, like if a character dies, because so few characters die in books, I will like kind of skip ahead and be like, is their name mentioned again? I will do that. So I feel like that kind of counts. I never like completely skip things, but I come close. Never have I ever thought that the adaptation was better than the book. Oh, I definitely have felt this way. I liked the Host adaptation better than the book in a lot of ways. I watched that first. It's a lot for books that like I didn't really care about, but I liked the adaptation slightly better. Like I didn't really care about The Fault in Our Stars. Like it was fine. And I liked the movie slightly better, but it's not like a favorite movie. I'm sure there's more examples of that. I just can't think of them right now. Never have I ever read the last page of a book first. I've never done that. I don't do that. The closest that I've come to doing that, and I'm not going to drink for it, is I actually didn't read, I've mentioned this before, I didn't read all the Harry Potter books as they were coming out. I read the first 3 as a child, got scared of the 3rd book, and didn't finish it until I was in college. In the interim, in high school is when all these were being released, so I did go to the midnight release party of the Deathly Hallows with a friend, but I didn't care about the books at that time, and they were all freaking out, and I read the last page of the last Harry Potter book just to see, but I wasn't reading it at the time, and I didn't even remember it when I read it myself, so that doesn't really count, but that's the only time I've done it. Never have I ever dog-eared a book or returned a library book late. I've never returned a library book late. I have dog-eared a book back in the day, not since like being on BookTube or like having my own books that like I've bought, but I have done it when I was younger. Like I would dog-ear pages a little bit more frequently, I think. I dog-eared my Anita Blake books. I'm bringing that up a lot, but those are the books like before when I would beat them up more. Never have I ever joined an RPG Tumblr for characters and series. I have never done that. I see that on Tumblr sometimes, but like I never really engage in RPG or like gaming for like characters or series or book stuff. I only ever do RPGs in my own like original character stuff. Never have I ever bought a book because of the cover and have no intentions of reading it. I've never done this because if I buy a book because of the cover a lot, but it's not just because of the cover. It's like I'll notice the cover, think it's beautiful, look up the synopsis, enjoy the synopsis, and then get it. So it's never getting it just from the cover, but the cover will be the reason I look into it and like the first thing that sparks my attention, but I never get a book just for the cover. Never have I ever taken a shot when something cringy happened in the story. Taken a shot. Is that like a fandom term for something else? Because I've never like taken a shot or anything when something cringy happens. I definitely like feel secondhand embarrassment for characters, but I just power through that. I feel more secondhand embarrassment honestly for like movies and TV shows than I do for books. Like books I can kind of just like, oh, get through it and like skim it a little bit, but TV shows and stuff is just like, ugh, I hate that. Never have I ever made a fan vid of my favorite ship. I have done that. I used to love fan videos. I still try to look them up, but like they're just not as enjoyable as they used to be for some reason. Like I can't find good ones. I think it's because I'm not in any like currently running fandom, like TV show fandoms and stuff where all of like the like peak quality stuff would be right now. But man, I used to watch a lot of like the Vampire Diaries ones and some Grey's Anatomy. Like whenever I found a new song, I would search it on YouTube for a fan video of a ship that I liked. It was a thing that I would do. But I did make a fan video for Willow and Oz from Buffy. It was to Kesha's Herald song. Yeah. It was a good video actually. That's like one of the first edited videos that I did. I don't think I ever posted that. I don't even know if I finished it, but I did work on it a lot. Never have I ever celebrated a character death. I'm sure that I have. Yeah, like I've definitely been excited. I can't think of certain instances, but like when certain like really satisfying villain deaths happen, or even just like side characters that I might not really like that much. That doesn't tend to happen with that, but it's more like satisfying villain deaths. Never have I ever liked the fan fiction more than the original story. I don't read a ton of fan fiction. So like, I'm actually somebody that like, I really appreciate fan fiction from like almost an educational, intellectual standpoint. Like I'm not in reading fan fiction at all. Like I don't really read it. The most I do is read one-shots on Tumblr when they come across my dash of people that write in fandoms that I like, but I don't actually like sit down and read a 50,000 word fanfic. Like I just don't do it. So I don't really have any experiences of reading fan fiction that would say, oh, I liked this more than the original. Never have I ever unfollowed a booktuber or bookstagrammer because they gave a bad rating to a book I loved. I've never done this. I don't care about that. The only reason I would unfollow somebody is if like our book tastes really didn't match up and I didn't like their personality, which in that case, I don't know what, I wouldn't really follow them in the first place because I tend to look into people and be like, okay, are these people going to have recommendations for me that are going to be good for me? You know what I mean? Like, is it aligning enough or even not aligning enough that I can base buying books and reading books off of what they like or don't like, because either we're polar opposite about stuff, so I know if they hate something, I'll love something, or we're really similar. I tend to more go for people that have similar taste to me because I don't really want to hear about books that I don't like. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've never done this just because it's like someone's hated The Night Circus and I've been like, fuck you! Like, that's fine if you don't like books that I like. Never have I ever stolen a book. I've never done this. I've never not given a book back that I've borrowed from somebody. I don't actually tend to borrow a lot of books from like people with friends and stuff, because the reason I got on BookTube is because not a lot of my friends in real life read. So I've never really had that happen. I've never kept a book from the library. Never done that. Never have I ever lied about my rating for a book because of its intended political impact. This is similar to an earlier question, but I'm still going to answer it. I have never lied about my rating of a book. I've never rated it higher because of its like impact. I've rated books higher than my like, when I rate books, I do it based on both my feelings and the quality of the writing. There's books that I've rated higher that I haven't necessarily liked because, like, enjoyment level liked, because the quality of the writing is so good, but it's not because of, like, the importance of the book or the political impact of the book or anything like that that I've done it. It's just been like, well, as a quality piece of art, this is well constructed. I just didn't enjoy it because it wasn't for me, you know? Never have I ever torn pages out of a book. Never done this. I've had books be so battered from me reading them so much that the pages have fallen out, but I've never torn something out of a book. Oh, well, Oh, I've done this for, actually, so I have done this. I've done this for decorations for BookNet Fest. We had some, like, really old books that people had brought from, like, either thrift stores or something, like, damaged books and stuff that we used for decorations at BookNet Fest prom, and I did tear those pages out. So I have done this, but, like, not of my own books for... I don't know what reason you tear a page out of a book, but I haven't done it for that reason. Never have I ever used a book as a coaster. I have done this. I mean, I don't really do it as, like... I set my water on books a lot, but this doesn't sweat, so I'm not really using it as like a coaster per se, but I do set my drinks on books, but not because they're sweating. I don't know. Does it count like that? Never have I ever DNF'd a book because someone else DNF'd it first. I don't DNF things just because somebody else DNF'd them, but what I will do, so I'll kind of take like a half sip, what I will do is if I want to DNF a book, I will go and look at reviews and see if other people had like positive or negative opinions, or if I should push through, or what people are not liking or whatever. And if I see a ton of people actually being like, I DNF'd this, I'd be like, okay, I feel a little better about it. But like, I don't do it because someone else did it. But if I'm already feeling like I want to do it, I will go and see if it's like worth it for me to do it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be so well hydrated when I get done with this. Never have I ever skipped chapters to read a perspective that I enjoy. No, I always will read the perspective that I enjoy. I will like flip forward and be like, how far until the perspective that I really want, but I will not skip that stuff. I'll always go back and read it. So yeah, I don't skip through things because there's really always a chance that a perspective can start gripping my attention. So I've never read a book where like one person's POV has been like horrible the whole time, so never felt the need to do that. Never have I ever read a book because my crush liked it. No, I have never done this. I've never even really done that for like, oh, I really like this book, and it's like someone that I'm dating and whatever, and I've done it. I don't tend to do that. I actually haven't tended to date a lot of people or like have crushes on people that are bookish. In my life, actually. Like, I actually tend to date people who have different interests, different but complementary interests to me. I kind of like that because then it sort of like broadens, like we broaden each other's horizons a bit more. So not things where like we both hate each other's hobbies or anything, but like just slightly different. So yeah, I've never had someone be like, oh my God, I love this book. There have been a few people that I've dated or like been talking to that do read, but read things totally different than me and been like, this is my favorite book. And I'm like, I'm not gonna read that. Because I don't care. Where there's like something like really heavy literary fiction that I'm just like not gonna be into, or like something like really nonfiction-y. I'm just like, I'm not gonna read that just because you like it. I'm not gonna do it. And I wouldn't expect them to read like The Night Circus if they don't read fiction. Like, I mean, it goes both ways. Never have I ever avoided reading a book / series because of its fandom. I totally have done this. I've done this on both ways, kind of. If I already intended to read a book before I knew about those fandoms or before those fandoms cropped up, then I still will read that book. But if I go in like knowing that there's two polarized fandoms around a book, like I typically don't want to touch it. Never have I ever dreamed about book characters. I don't think that I have. My dreams are pretty vague as far as faces and stuff. Like I don't see people's faces in my dreams, even people that I like know. Like I'll wake up, I'm sure other people have this, I'll wake up and be like, I know in my head that that was this person, but it didn't look like that person. I couldn't see their face. My brain just knew that's who it was. But I've never had that with book characters or dreamed about them or anything like that because again, I don't like, my brain doesn't feel like I know them. So it's never happened with book characters. It's happened with movie characters, but I've seen them, so yeah. Never have I ever decorated a book. I haven't done this. I kind of want to do like the book defacing kind of thing a little bit, but like I'm not super artistic with the mediums that people use for that. And I'm kind of fine because typically speaking, you can't see the books when they're on my shelf anyway. So like I wouldn't really see that like I decorated it. So I have not done this. And the last one is never have I ever lost a book in the middle of reading it. I have never lost a book while reading it. Never misplaced something or anything like that, thankfully. I think I've come very close and been like, where is this book? And then found it. So does that count because I lost it and then I found it? I'll count it. But like I've never lost a book and never refound it again. All right, that's fun. That was never have I ever. So comment below. Let me know if any of my answers surprised you or what your answers would be to some of these questions if you found them interesting. Thank you all for watching and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.